Hello and welcome to the SkillByte refresher video, how to get everyone to agree. Wouldn't that be great? Now, this is a model to use when you have a large group of people and you're trying to generate ideas, come up with the right idea, and then focus down on which idea you're going to take forward. It's a perfect brainstorming tool. I'll talk you through the different parts of it. There's an open, a narrow, and a close phase. The opening phase is where you're beginning by maybe suggesting a proposal and then everybody generates ideas and you end up with lots and lots of possibilities. The narrowing phase is when you're taking those possibilities and you're trying to focus down into which of the 1, 2, 3 or 4 things that you think are the right ones to maybe take forward. And then finally the closing phase is when you're getting to the end of your meeting and you're saying, right, this is what we're going to do. So what's important about this model? Well, there are 3 things I want to remind you about. Number 1, you'll see that it widens and then it narrows. It's very important that you give people freedom in this phase to just think of any idea, generate any possibility, not to be limited by budget or limited by, well, that won't work. We need to make sure people feel that they can be creative and they have permission. So that gets wider. But crucially, it then begins to narrow. And it begins to narrow when we look at our possibilities and we decide, well, we will take that one, but we won't take that one. Or that's a copy of that one, so let's put those 2 together. That's the narrowing phase. And then finally, the closing phase. It could be a vote, it could be a vote one in, vote one out. But there are different tools we can use to close in and get to the idea or ideas that we're going to take forward. So that's the first thing that's really important. The second thing is we all have different preferences. I know that I love the opening phase. I know that I love to get creative and think of possibilities. If people try to narrow me down too quickly, I get a little bit frustrated. Other people prefer to get to closure. They like to have a decision. Let's just get to the idea that we're going to take. Never mind all this dream factory stuff. So different people prefer different phases. And the third thing is the gaps are really important. The gaps are important because we need to signify when we're moving from ideas generation into duplication and elimination, into decision about which ideas we're going to take. We need to signify when we're saying, right, this is really important, this is the decision we're going to take. So you need to signpost the gaps as you move through the phases, not just drift from one to the other. So I have a call to action for you. Take this model and teach it to your teams, teach it to your people, describe to them how you're going to work through the process of ideas generation and decision making. And secondly, when you do work through the process, make sure you signpost the different phases. Now we're in the opening phase. Okay, that's finished, that's all the ideas. Now we're in the narrowing phase. And finally, we're moving on to decision making phase. Use this model to generate ideas and get to an end point. That is the How to Get Everyone to Agree model. Thank you for watching.